Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Consular Conversations. Today, I'm joined by Ashley and Elizabeth, and we'll be covering travel to the U.S. and travel documents. And I wanted to mention that we'll also be talking about the U.S. citizens and Jamaicans that need replacing documents and making appointments for travel interview. Travel with a valid, unexpired, and undamaged U.S. passport. And if you have a passport book that is expired, or if you have a damaged passport book, please contact us at the U.S. Embassy, and we will give you information on how you can have that information, your passport book replaced. Also, if you have a Jamaican passport, that's including for minors. If you have it lost, maybe because of the hurricane or any other reason, we can also give you information on how you can renew and replace those passport books. All right. And also, by the way, replacing a minor's child's passport book needs consent forms sometimes and more information. So if you contact us, we'll give you that information. Also, if you have specific questions on your case, I'm sorry, we're not able to answer those questions, but if you email us at the embassy, we should be able to respond to you directly on the email. All right. So we're going to go to our first question, and I'm going to ask Ashley.
Yes.
All right. And Ashley, can I travel on my Jamaican passport if I urgently need to come to Jamaica to see my family or check my property? And that question is the very first question. What would you say?
So I would say that I do understand, the urgency of wanting to come down post Melissa to not only check on family, given the holiday season coming up, or to check on your property, but please know that it is against the law to travel outside of the United States without a valid U.S. passport book. So even if you have a passport card, it is a no. You have a naturalization certificate, it is a no. Birth certificate, driver's license, whatever you have, if it is not a valid United States passport book, please do not travel outside of the country, because we don't want you to get stuck here, especially for an extended amount of time. And it's best to renew that, get that validated before you come. If you do happen to have a Jamaican passport book because you're a Jamaican national and want to fly to Jamaica real quick and then get back, you will not be able to enter the US on your Jamaican passport. You'll be able to get to Jamaica, but you're not going to be able to get back. So it's best to make sure that all your US books, if they're close to expiring, renew that. If it's already expired, renew that. If you lost it in the States or can't find it, please get a replacement one before you decide to travel, even if it's not to Jamaica. Just if you decide to travel and leave the United States, make sure you have that, please, before leaving. And hopefully that helps. And that goes for minors as well, too. Not just the adults, minors as well. They cannot travel on their birth certificate if they were just born, or whatever the case may be. They need to have a passport book in order to leave.
All right. Thank you, Ashley. Just to mention a little bit of what Ashley has mentioned, like, do not make your travel plans without making sure that you have all your documents. And especially do not buy that ticket without making sure like all your documents are good to travel with. Otherwise, I don't want you to spend all that money and get disappointed. All right, my next question is to Elizabeth. How do I make an appointment to replace my documents? And what if I am having internet connection issues? What can I do?
Yeah, we definitely understand that folks are still disconnected, especially after Hurricane Melissa. But you are able to give us a call as well. The embassy's main phone number is listed on the website, 876-702-6000. And if you can't make the call, a friend or family may be able to make the call on your behalf, but we would definitely be able to assist you with making an appointment or a time to come in to replace or renew your U.S. passport.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. All right, so I'm going to take a question here from Rochelle on Instagram. My fiance petitioned me and our 1-year-old son to come to the US. However, my son was referred. That sounds like a personal question or case-basis question. Just email our website, Rochelle, and we will be able to answer that question.
Yes.
All right, and the next question is coming from Russian, and that's from X. I lost my naturalization certificate during the Hurricane Melissa. Can the embassy issue a temporary proof of citizenship? Ashley Elizabeth, who would like to answer that?
I can take that. Yeah. So if your naturalization certificate has been lost or damaged, it wouldn't be the embassy that issues you a new one. You should request a replacement from the Department of Homeland Security, specifically the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service, USCIS. They would be able to assist you with a new naturalization certificate. Now, if your U.S. passport was also lost or damaged in the hurricane, we are still able to assist you even if your naturalization certificate is also lost as well. We have other ways of looking in our systems and our files to verify that you're a U.S. citizen so that you can get your passport at least replaced with us. We can help with passports, but it'd be Homeland Security that helps with your naturalization certificate.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Another question from Rudolph on Facebook. I'm having challenges filling out the DS-3053. Is there a contact center I can call for guidance?
What do you say?
So with your DS-3053, which is a consent form for a minor to get a passport, if you're, it's 5 questions, right? It's basically the top line is about the child's information, their full name, their date of birth. The next section is about who you're giving consent to get the passport, done. And then the next section is about your information, your name, Rudolph, and your address and phone number. Then you need to get it notarized. We cannot accept JP here in Jamaica. If you're here in Jamaica, you can come to us. You can make an appointment. We will notarize it for you. That is not a problem. But if you're in the States, go to a notary, whether it's the bank, any notary in the States is accepted to have that document notarized. And you can mail that to us here, or you can mail it to the person getting the passport done and they can bring it into us. But a DS-3053, if you find the form online to fill out, it comes with an instruction page as well. So you could just follow that instruction step by step. It's really simple. To get the form, if you're not sure where to go, you can always head over to jm.usembassy.gov. And then you're going to select US passport or American Citizen Services. And that form is on our website as well, too, with the instructions.
And if you have an appointment here at the embassy to get it notarized, we do have blank copies and we can assist you in the waiting room as well.
Correct. Maybe.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Another question. What is needed to replace my American passport?
Yeah, I'd be happy to take that. So to replace your U.S. passport, if it was lost, stolen, or materially damaged, so that's like, it's unusable, maybe you still have it, but like
or
the
water damage.
It went through the hurricane, it went through your washing machine, that type of thing. You're going to need a couple of things to come in to replace it. So for a replacement, you do have to come to the U.S. Embassy. We have our consular agency in Montego Bay. However, normal operations in Montego Bay are still suspended after the hurricane from damage sustained. So you're going to have to come to us here in Kingston, and you'll bring another form of ID, a Jamaican passport, a Jamaican driver license, U.S. driver's license, all works. You'll bring a passport size photo, so a 2-inch by 2-inch photo of your face on a white background. You'll bring a means of payment. For adults, it's $165 US. For minors, it's $135 US. We take credit card, we take US dollars. We also take the Jamaican dollar equivalent in cash too. And then the application form you'll need to use to replace it is called the DS-11. When you fill that out, don't sign it yet because you have to sign that one in front of us here at the embassy. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies. I will take a question from one of our audiences, and her name is Pansier from YouTube. I am a green card holder and I want authorization to be outside of the US for over a year. What is the process?
That would be a question for the Department of Homeland Security as well, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Essentially, what you would be doing is, I believe it's applying for a re-entry permit. So it's letting them know that you're going to be outside of the U.S. for more than a year, but you do not intend to relinquish your permanent residency. So that's a good question for Homeland Security.
All right. Thank you, Elizabeth. Another question from our audience in Instagram, Anna K. wants to know what's the quickest way to replace her stolen passport as she needs to travel urgently back to the US.
The quickest way to replace it is make an appointment. Head over to our website. If you're having any problems with the website or getting an appointment, whatever it may be, you can always email us. Our email address is online on our website, but I will tell it to you right now, just in case. You're going to head over to jm.usembassy.gov and click on American Citizen Services. It has a section for lost stolen passports. Everything you'll need, from the forms to what to do, how to get in contact with us, how to make an appointment, is there. If you are in Kingston and you show up at the embassy, your ticket in is definitely going to be a passport size photo, like what Elizabeth explained earlier, and some form of ID. And then we can assist you from there. If you're having a problem with printing or getting internet access, come to us. Let's try and work out. If we can't see you that day because of the time you arrived or whatever may be coming on, we can schedule to see you the very next day to get this going. Okay. So that should help your urgent situation as best as possible. Again, there's no guarantees when you do arrive because there's a whole process and system, but we need to at least get you in the door so we can assist you.
All right. Thank you, Ashley. So I think that both of you mentioned something about a DS-3053 form, and it's for minors. So could you please explain a little bit to the audience what a DS-3053 is and why does a minor need it?
We told Rudolph, and I'm
if you don't mind explaining,
I'm gonna let Elizabeth go in a little bit more about it because it's a constant question we get.
So the 3053, this is, the special number for what is essentially the statement of parental consent for the issuance of a minor's passport. So children age 15 and younger need the consent of both of the parents listed on their birth certificate to apply for the passport. We are not allowed to approve any children's passports without the consent of both of those parents. So what does that mean? Typically, if both of the parents are in the same place at the same time, if both live in Jamaica, they should both attend the appointment at the embassy in Jamaica, here in Kingston. If one parent doesn't live in Jamaica, maybe they're working or live up in the United States, they need to complete that DS-3053 consent document. They need to complete it with the child's information, as Ashley mentioned, their full name and their date of birth, and who is applying for the child's passport. Usually it's the other parent, but maybe auntie, grandma, or another family member or guardian is applying with the child here at the embassy in Kingston. Make sure you list the correct individual that's accompanying the child in applying for the passport. And then that needs to be notarized. As Ashley mentioned, here in Jamaica, it can't be done by a JP or a Jamaican notary. Only the embassy is allowed to be a notary for this specific document. But up in the United States, any notary public can notarize this document. So you might find a notary at your post office or maybe your local library or someone that does the service in town where you live. But otherwise, this is absolutely required. Yeah. Now, if there's only one parent listed on the birth certificate, only one parent needs to apply. Correct. If one of the parents has passed away, you should make sure to bring in the death certificate, the original of the parent that has passed away. If one of the parents has sole, absolute legal custody of the child, bring in that court order demonstrating that.
And even for minors who are 16, 17, yes, they can sign for their passport, but I think 16, 17, we need at least one parent as well. So if that one parent needs to give consent to their 16-year-old to get their passport who's here, or 17-year-old, then we need that. At 18, they can sign on their own without the consent needed. Just to, let you guys be aware of that as well too.
All right. Thank you, ladies. And, due to the hurricane, we have a lot of individuals who've lost their documents. And today's conversations is about passports and documents. And one of the main questions I know people ask all the time is, how much does it cost? And where do I pay in person, or how do I, go about the payments? And I know you've mentioned it in some of the questions that you've answered, but I think it'd be nice to speak of it again, just for our audience.
Okay, yeah. Like she said, you can head over to pay. If you want to pay in advance, you could pay at pay.gov. That link is on the website that I mentioned. jm.usembassy.gov if you'd like to pay before coming here. But if you come here to apply, because a lot of times it is an emergency situation where it's lost or stolen, you can pay here. We take cash, we take card, we take Jamaican, we take USD. I think we would take British pounds, euro, pesos. I don't know, but we take it. And if your name is not on the card that you are using to pay, that person needs to be here. So if you happen to have your wife or husband's card, or mother or father's card, they need to be present to show their ID to pay for it as well. For the fees for minor passports, ages 15 and younger, it's $135. If they would like a passport card as well, it is $15 for them. For adults, whether you are applying for the first time or your passport was lost or stolen, it is $165 for adults. For adults renewing, it is $130 to renew. And for adult passport cards, we're talking about 16 and older, adult passport cards are $35. All these fees are available to you on that wonderful website I've said, which is jm.usembassy.gov, because I know this is a lot of information very quickly. But if you go there, the fees are breakdown based on the application that you're filling out.
And if you have a question, it might be better to pay here in person at the U.S. Embassy. Because like Ashley mentioned, there is a difference for an adult who's renewing their passport as normal. The old one is in good shape, just need to update the dates in it. It's only $130. But if that passport was lost, stolen, or seriously damaged, it is $165.
Right.
Thank you, ladies. Elizabeth, you mentioned about a passport book that was previously damaged or, issued passport book. So, for example, like if a Jamaican who's a U.S. citizen has lost their passport book and they don't have any documents like their Jamaican birth certificate, do we still have a copy? Can they come here and, apply, replace it or apply for another passport book?
So to get a new passport, if you have nothing, come to the embassy, let's talk about it. We might ask you some interesting questions about yourself, like, where did you live when you last applied for a passport?
Right.
Who do you think your emergency contact might have been? We have some ways that we can verify your identity and that you're a U.S. citizen. It's good to come prepared sort of with everything in your brain anyway. You should know your social security number. You should know, your birth date, your place of birth, an emergency contact, a permanent address, a mailing address, which could be the same. You got to know all those things to fully complete the application. But once we have that information, we can check in our systems and work with you to develop, make sure that you're the person that you say you are and get you that U.S. passport.
Thank you very much. All right. One more question from Instagram. Cherish is asking, I am married to a U.S. citizen. We both live in Cayman Island. Can I apply for my U.S. visa?
Oh, Cayman.
So Cayman is, our office in Cayman is only a consular agency. A consular agency only provides U.S. citizen services. That's to say, there are no visa interviews, there's no DNA testing, no other services in Cayman. So to do your visa processing, you do need to come to Kingston. So we have the office, but it has very limited specific services for U.S. citizens only.
All right. Thank you for answering that. We have a question here from Jacqueline Daly, and I feel like I don't want to ignore her question. She's asking, what if a student washes their passport and the visa damages? What should that person do to get it back?
Great question. If the passport book is damaged or the visa is damaged, what I do know is if your passport book is damaged, your Jamaican passport book that I'm speaking to, because we already answered for the US passport, if your Jamaican passport book is damaged, it's best to hit up the Passport and Immigration Office to get a replacement passport book. If that visa for some reason also got damaged in that process, you may want to make an appointment to replace that visa online. You can just go through the process of getting a replacement visa. I believe appointments are available. I can't speak fully to that because I don't work in that department, but I can tell you the process of what's needed to replace it. And get your Jamaican passport replaced if it's damaged, and then go ahead and apply to get that visa replaced that was also lost or damaged.
All right. Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much for answering all the questions. We thank you for tuning in for our Consular Conversations today. It is vital for travel. And we know that, especially after the hurricane, to have all your documents together. Don't buy that ticket without making sure your passport book is valid, your visa is valid, that all your documents are good. And, just to avoid any frustrations that you might get when you go to the airport. So if you have any questions, please do go to our embassy website. And we thank you for joining us today. Have a good day. Bye.